Hey guys, ATTILEE here from Crystal Gems, and today I'm here to talk about the latest episode of Steven Universe, On the Run. I've been very looking forward to this episode since they had the preview at MagFest of the song On the Run with Steven and Amethyst singing as they sort of emulate the No Homeboys. It's really cute, and I absolutely loved seeing that again with the entire episode. But what's obviously the talk of the fandom right now is the huge reveal of the kindergarten, as well as some more of Amethyst's personalities possibly explained or given some understanding from this episode. Really, really solid storytelling this episode. Love it. So, again, really excited this was Amethyst-centered. We haven't had an Amethyst-centered episode since Tiger Millionaire with Steven, and it seems like, oh gosh, maybe with a fair amount of character-centered episodes, anytime we do have these character-centered episodes, like with Garnet or with Pearl or with Amethyst, we do get a really great sense of their character and a wider view of who they are overall, not just who they are in episode to episode as they are in a whole group with the Crystal Gems. And it's just these focuses in on characters I absolutely love, and I think the storytelling is so on point for each of these, and just the development of their characters is so strong and so well driven. They obviously know where they're going with these episodes, and I just absolutely have so much respect for the Crewniverse for their dedication for telling these really authentic, real stories with these unreal characters. I mean, that's why I love this show so much still. And so getting to see finally another Amethyst-centric episode with On the Run, so rewarding. And of course, it completely pays off in what we get in the big reveal near the end of or in the second half of the episode. So again, starts off with Amethyst, Garnet, and Pearl returning via the warp pad with those robots that had been fixing the warp pad with Pure Dot. And we sort of get, not only with Steven talking about No Homeboys, but also with Amethyst actions, some foreshadowing into sort of conflict and the strife that's sort of pushing Amethyst away from Garnet and Pearl. Garnet and Pearl are holding on to these robots, and as Pearl talks through sort of the history of them deciding to stay on Earth and to protect Earth and to move away from the homeworld as Crystal Gems, we see Amethyst popping those devices. And at first watch, I sort of was like, oh, this is kind of funny. Like, she's sort of imitating Pure Dot, and it's funny. But then, I mean, watching it a second and a third time, I'm like, oh gosh, she's doing this because she's upset, and this is her sort of way of acting out. And it's just, oh man, like, if her telling her story on the boxcar and showing Steven her home and where she was born and like the climbing rock and everything didn't break your heart the first time, I mean, watching it a second time is like bound to make you as upset as it made me. So yeah, so we've got foreshadowing with both Amethyst's actions as well as sort of Steven discussing the No Homeboys and the terrible graphic novel adaptation, which leads into eventually Steven and Amethyst imitating the No Homeboys. Amethyst obviously wanting to actually escape, whereas Steven is just sort of along for the ride, which he is for, a fair amount of plot, let's be honest. We get this really fun montage with the raccoon and Steven and Amethyst singing and sort of making their way with the boxcars, and again, really emphasis on the No Homeboys, which I think you could also read as sort of an allusion to the Boxcar Children. Oh, this episode tears at my heart with hearing about Amethyst's backstory and just seeing, I don't know, maybe seeing her cling to such things like the rocks and everything was just really hard for me, because, I don't know, everyone really likes to look back on their past and sort of feel nostalgic for it, but when you're nostalgic for rocks, I mean, I don't know, maybe it's just hard for me as a human to really get behind that, but it just felt sad, kind of, like she couldn't feel at home with humans and she couldn't feel at home with the homeworld gems, so she likes these rocks that she climbed on when she was first made on Earth. One thing to point out too that is sort of a connection to a past episode is that in Warp Tour we sort of heard Pure Dot talking on her device, and she begins to mention kindergarten in a sentence. I can't exactly remember the direct quote, but kindergarten is uttered by her, and that sort of, a lot of fans were a bit confused, thinking like maybe that was like a totally different meaning to gems, or maybe it was misheard. But obviously it's clear with the introduction of the kindergarten that Amethyst was created in that is a thing, and that is what Pure Dot was after, which is just crazy to think about, because we see those bacteriophages that are just ready to create more gems. Who knows how? I mean, there's been theories that like within the bulb of the bacteriophage device, there's some sort of substance, and then the drill's injected into the ground, or like, again, I don't know. It's just so vague that it's really hard for me to pin down any answer. But yeah, so just this sort of creepy discovery of the kindergarten was just so beyond weird. And again, seeing Amethyst nostalgic for it sort of creates this like rift that you can see why she feels so different from Amethyst and Garnet. We don't know how Amethyst and Garnet are born, but just seeing how weird a kindergarten is, it's like, like I don't know, I don't understand, and it's I don't know. You can see how she can feel different, because that's such a weird way to be born, let's be honest. And then from there, I thought it was interesting there was a warp pad at the kindergarten. I mean, obviously with like the gems sort of wanting to watch their spaces here on Earth, it makes sense. But just God, seeing Pearl just pop up out of nowhere, I was like, whoa, I was so not expecting that. I was expecting it to be Steven and Amethyst 100% of the time. So when she arrives, this tension of Amethyst feeling like she still doesn't fit in, and the homeworld sort of clashing against her as what she was made for, and all this stuff really comes to a head. And even though maybe Pearl wasn't a part of why she was made, she sort of uses her as like a target for feeling different and feeling like not the same as the rest of them. And so that comes to it, like I said, comes to a head with their fight. It was just such a release of tension. And you just feel it with a character like Amethyst. For someone who's so laid back most of the time, when things come to a head with her, it is like full force, and it is just brutal. I mean, we could see their attack, obviously. Crystal gems and gems in general can fight well, and they can fight very strong, and so seeing them fight together, just sort of Amethyst being very emotional. Although in their fight, I think at one point Pearl pointed out that she can beat her. Like Pearl will always beat Amethyst, and I almost wonder if there's like a rock, paper, scissors kind of theme. I kind of doubt it, because I think Garnet sort of trumps everyone. But it's sort of in that huge moment of tension, that sort of jarred me a little bit, because I was like, oh, she's fighting against her this strongly, and yet she still knows inside that she's gonna lose no matter what. And it's there's just this element of this feeling of everything's futile, and just sort of it's not gonna go anywhere. I don't know, it's just, there's so much to unpack from that. This whole episode, there's so much to unpack. Really, I think I'm only hitting the surface. I could make like probably a dozen videos about this episode, and still I would not get everything that I want out of this. So yeah, so we've got this fight with Pearl, sort of this big denouement of emotion after that, because I really feel like, I think what's great about Steven Universe, and even in Adventure Time too, is with such a short runtime, that the climax is usually near the end, and there's just such a quick denouement and resolution that it's just like, like a big rush, and that's what this episode definitely felt like. We have the fight, we have the bacteriophage device falling, and just this absolute release of nerves when you see Amethyst is okay and she's hiding in her hole, her like hidey hole or whatever. Wow, this episode was great. Like, I don't even think I can like accurately sum up everything that I could pull apart from this, because I'm still just so overwhelmed with just how well written this episode was. I mean, if you thought I was excited about Stevonnie, like, this episode, like, so excited. Till next week, you guys. Bye-bye.